Welcome back, True Seeker. Wednesday, June 24th, 2026. Modern Freemasonry's 309th birthday. The Masons, the builders, they're going to have to do a little reconstruction in Venezuela. They got rocked with their two biggest earthquakes in history within 40 seconds of each other. And they've had three monstrous earthquakes that are their three biggest in the history of seismology. And they've all happened in the time of the Superior General Arturo Sosa, who's from Venezuela. We've been talking a lot about Venezuela and Tren de Aragua with the ritualism going on in the United States, all synced with the Superior General. What I'm going to show you is how today's ritual on modern Freemasonry's birthday is completely synced with the Venezuelan Superior General. And realize there's earthquakes all over the place today. We covered the one in California in the last live stream, the biggest in Northern California in 86 years. It's funny that the last major earthquake in Northern California 86 years ago was on the same day that is now the birthday of the current leader of Venezuela. Yeah, we're going to get to that. They got the same date. May 18th is the new Venezuelan leader's birthday, Delcy. And May 18th was the last time Northern California got hit with an earthquake this big. And then Japan, which is no stranger to earthquakes, they got a pretty big one today too. And it's a reminder, those Jesuits, they learned a lot back east in places like Japan and China. They're responsible for that text that's credited to the East, Art of War, that was published by a Jesuit priest, Father Amiot. Anyway, we're going to get into this, but I just want you to see how they're reporting it as a 7.5 and a 7.2. When the news first broke, the first earthquake was reported by everyone as a 7.1. And we're going to talk about why all three matter, the 7.5, the 7.2, and the 7.1. And we'll start with a little bit of mainstream reporting. Let me know in the chat if the audio's good here.
A 7.1 magnitude earthquake rocking Venezuela, and separate quakes reported in California and Japan. I want to show you some of the video. We are just now getting into it. These chaotic moments on the streets of Caracas, dust filling the air after the capital there in Venezuela felt that intense shaking. You see people walking around, some of them looking confused. A baseball game coming to a halt, people running for safety. You see the light fixture up there swaying, people running for safety to the center of the field.
You say they got to bring up a baseball game. What did I say about the California earthquake? It's near the Bay Area, and it's happening while the Giants and Athletics are playing each other in light of, in 1989, them being in the World Series. When the horrible earthquake happened that did a lot of destruction and killed a lot of people, the 1989 World Series earthquake. So now here in Venezuela, they got to bring up a baseball game? Okay.
Just hours before that, we saw a 5.6 quake hitting Northern California, knocking shelves of food.
I mean, and they just go right from Venezuela to California. I mean, woo, man. We're going to put it all together here.
Food to the ground. We're also following a 6.9 quake in Japan with tsunami advisories in effect there. There's a lot going on, lot to watch. We've got Bill Karen standing by. But I want to start with Aaron Gilchrist joining us now, because it seems that the most significant of these is the one that just happened late today in Venezuela. Aaron, what do we know about the possibility of any injuries, about how people are doing there?
Less than an hour ago, this happened, Hallie, and at this point, there aren't any reports about any serious injuries or any major damage having happened here. But obviously, a 7.1 magnitude earthquake is a major earthquake, and this was one that happened a little after 6 o'clock Eastern time, apparently in the northwestern part of Venezuela. So putting it very much near the coast of Venezuela, the Caribbean coast of Venezuela. There are reports that there could have been some of the shaking felt in parts of Colombia, and as you've been saying, this video that we're seeing now out of the Caracas area, which is more than 100 miles away from where we believe the epicenter of this earthquake was, and still we see the shaking. You see people who felt that shaking running into the streets, getting reports about buildings with cracks potentially in some of these buildings. We've been hearing reports about bottles being knocked off of shelves in stores in this area, and obviously people very much concerned about their safety, running into the streets, trying to get to safe spaces, potentially to open spaces in case there were any buildings that might collapse. And again, at this point, An hour after this earthquake happened, we are not getting any reports about any buildings that have collapsed or seen any major damage or any reports about people having been injured. Hallie, there are alerts that have been posted by the National Weather Service in this country about the potential for tsunamis in this area. An earthquake of this magnitude near the coast could potentially send waves to neighboring islands into the Caribbean Netherlands, into Aruba. There are reports about advisories at least being posted for Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands to be on the lookout for potentially tsunami waves. Hallie.
Aaron Gilchrist, we'll look to see if we get more video coming into us too. I know our teams are on top of that. Aaron, thanks.
We thank you for watching, and remember.
Okay, so there's that coverage. And in light of how they went from the baseball game in Venezuela to the Northern California quake, not far from the Bay Area, while the Giants and Athletics are playing each other, which suffered the 1989 World Series earthquake. It's interesting that there's not a lot of Venezuelan players in MLB history. I mean, there's a good amount, but nowhere near what's from the DR. Two of the better-known players in MLB history from Venezuela played for the San Francisco Giants. And one is active. You have Pablo Sandoval. Pablo Sandoval played on a lot of good Giants teams, Venezuelan. And you have Luis Arias, who currently plays for the Giants. And what's wild is today's 76 days after his birthday. Again, this is where the gematria matters. For all you San Francisco types, I'm sure you know, driving north and south to your city, you see the road signs that say 76 miles to San Francisco. Today's date numerology is 76 as well. June 24th, 2026, 6 plus 24 plus 20 plus 26, 76. You know, OJ, the San Franciscan, dead at 76. Again, if you're new here, these 4 base ciphers of the English language, they're all super important, but I'm just making the point about this active player for the Giants who's from Venezuela in light of what's going on today. You gotta love these born on 4-9 playing in 49er land too. But anyway, it started out as a 7.1. Everyone's changed it to 7.5 and 7.2. We're gonna go through all of it. So, it's modern Freemasonry's birthday, right? And I'm a broken record about the 58 Freemasonry rituals. They happen all the time, but you'll never catch them unless you know this Kabbalistic code of letters and numbers. Caracas, Venezuela, what got rocked the hardest today on Freemasonry's birthday, where buildings are down and they're going to have to rebuild them. Did I mention, a few years ago in Miami? Do you remember a few years ago on this day in Miami when the building just collapsed? All those people died? They acted like it was a mystery. Man, what caused it to collapse? We just don't know what caused it to collapse. You guys, this is why humanity's being teased, right? There's this great mind from about 100 years back now, Tesla, right? And Tesla said he had found the technology to create earthquakes. We're going to get into the Tesla piece on this because it seems to be very much connected to Tesla, what's going on today. But yeah, it's obvious that there's some kind of technology that, they're not teaching about in mainstream education, and that's the problem with the average person today. They think if it's not being taught in school, it must not be real, because they're indoctrination centers. It's not that you can't get knowledge from there, but it's just that people learn to think, well, if they're not teaching in school, then it can't possibly be real, right? Because if it was real, they'd teach it to us in school. Nope, wrong. This world is meant to be controlled, and the schools are meant to cultivate people that are useful to the controllers. The controllers know things that we don't know. And whatever that stuff is the kind of stuff that took down that tower in Miami on Freemasonry's birthday. And it's the kind of stuff that has these perfect earthquakes today going on all over the world, highly ritualistically. So anyway, Caracas, Venezuela, 58, like Freemasonry, like Solomon's Temple, like Rosicrucian, like Secret Society. For all you guys who are so hung up on the Jeffrey Epstein psyop, he died on the day to remember the destruction of Solomon's Temple, 58 days after Trump's birthday, when Trump had just won the 58th U.S. presidential election after announcing from the 58-story Trump Tower. And previously, he was the apprentice, which is the first degree of Freemasonry, and all of Freemasonry's secrets are in Solomon's Temple, and Solomon's Temple was destroyed for sexual depravity by the Babylonians. So think about how that comes together with Epstein. By the way, Epstein files equals 58. Every Epstein files headlines the 58 ritual. The point is, all of this stuff is Masonic jokes. But today's Masonic joke is on Freemasonry's birthday. They rock Caracas and knock buildings to the ground. And they're saying that more structures could still fall that are unstable right now, or they might just have to take them down all the way because they're unstable. So there's going to be some rebuilding, which means some people are going to make some money, you know? Some people are going to benefit from this. A lot of people are going to suffer, but some people are going to make some money from this. It's the thing about this order out of chaos. Now, if you're new here, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language, okay? This one where all these things are 58 is the alphabetic order with numerology applied to each letter. The most simple cipher is just the alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26. And it's modern Freemasonry's birthday. And who are the daddies of modern Freemasonry? The Jesuit order, a.k.a. the Society of Jesus, a.k.a. the Military Order of the Pope, a.k.a. the people who gave you the calendar and the languages you know it. The Superior General is from Venezuela. And look how many days from his birthday it is to today's ritual. 224 days, the Society of Jesus. We just talked about this number with what they did with Alan Greenspan at the beginning of the week, synced with the Superior General. The longest serving head of the Federal Reserve died by the numbers, synced with the Superior General, just another day in the life. But yeah, his hometown gets wasted today, perfectly coordinated with his birthday, just like when they took down Maduro on January 3rd, it was perfectly coordinated with his birthday. If you weren't here for the Maduro takedown, that happened on the 53rd day of the Superior General's age. Today leaves 190 days left in the year, which is the 19th triangular number. The 143 syncs with Wednesday. Caracas goes down on a Wednesday. But yeah, 224 days from the Superior General's birthday. Everyone initially reported it was a 7.1, okay? If you apply numerology to each letter, the Society of Jesus is 71, okay? Just like they started with the 7.1. Remember, seismology, this thing of measuring earthquakes, this is largely attributed to the Jesuits, who have a huge place in the world of science and our understanding of science. You know, the Big Bang Theory comes from the Jesuits and a million other things. But notice, seismologist and Jesuit order, both 54 and 72. They adjusted it to a 7.2. The most prominent Jesuit seismologist in history died at age 72. He died in the year 56, just like the founder of the Jesuits died in the year 56. We'll again revisit the 5.6 magnitude quake in Northern California today. We'll talk about the 6.9 in Japan also. But yeah, a 7.2 and a 7.5, right? Catholic Church 75, Roman Catholic 75, New World Order 75. What church is in every location in the world? The Catholic Church. They are the New World Order. The Jesuit universities have quotes all over their buildings about how they're the driving force of globalism. You know, someday they'll be reopening a new building where today's fell, and they'll be talking about the improvements. They'll probably do some memory of the dead and say, well, you know, at least now look at this beautiful new building that came out of it that, you know, is now prepared for the next great earthquake. And people will scratch their head and say, man, we weren't having earthquakes like this until just recently. What's going on? Get this Venezuelan Superior General, and all of a sudden we're just getting rocked with huge earthquakes? Never happened before, but now it's just happening? So look, from the day they took down Maduro, and don't forget that they took down Maduro on the anniversary of Noriega, and don't forget how his takedown was synced perfectly with the takedown of the leader of Iran. They got about the 56 thing, you know, with the Jesuits, another big number with them. You got a new 56-year-old leader in Venezuela, then you got a new 56-year-old leader in Iran. And they got, you know, the respective leaders got taken out 56 days apart. But yeah, from the day they took down Maduro to today's earthquake, 172 days. Big Jesuit motto, in Merum Dei Gloriam, for the greater glory of God, 172. And the new leader of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, 172. How perfect. And yeah, here it is right here. Here's the biggest earthquakes in the history of Venezuela. So It had been over 100 years since they had any earthquakes this big. And now just in recent times, just in the time of this new Superior General boom, 3 of them, and 2 in one day too, and on a very specific day. And look at the other date that they got rocked, August 21st. That date should stand out, 21/8, 218, like Holy Roman Empire's 218, like Death's 218. We talk about that number with the church a lot too. So, go figure. And then today, to the end of the year, it's the first of the last 191 days. Society of Jesus has that 191, as well as 56, going with the 5.6 in California, which seems to be connected through the baseball, as the news made clear. And, you know, you got to wonder, nuclear bombs 191. Jesse Ventura, years ago in his show Conspiracy Theory, said that when he was a Navy SEAL, he planted a lot of bombs along fault lines. He makes the point in his show. He says sometimes those earthquakes, those aren't natural. Those are bombs going off. And again, I mean, Jesse Ventura, he's part of it. Is that true? Is it a little bit misleading? I mean, I don't know. But the point is, this stuff is obviously military, and they're obviously using some form of weaponry. And it could be as simple as huge bombs have been placed in the ground along fault lines. It could be that simple. Or it could be more of this technology that, say, Tesla alluded to. And you could also say, rather than today is the first of the last 191 days left in the year, which is true, you could also say that there's 190 days remaining after today, which is the 19th triangular number. Caracas equals 19, like quake, like chaos. You know how I just showed you how Caracas and Wednesday both equal 143. Wednesday's 143. Caracas is 143. Again, if you're new here, these are the 4 base ciphers of the English language: alphabetic order with numerology, reverse alphabetic order with numerology. Tesla said oscillators could be used to create earthquakes. So, just for the record. Yeah, Delcy Rodriguez, her birthday's May 18th. We talked about that at the time when she got installed. We're like, oh, Donald Trump's pick is Miss 138, or born on the 138th day of the year, you know? But now that's also the anniversary of the last time there was this big of an earthquake in Northern California. It was May 18th, 1940. And then with regards to Tesla, who said that, you know, he had the technology to create earthquakes, from his birthday, July 10th, by the way, he was born in the year 56 as well, but from his birthday to today's earthquake, from his birthday anniversary to today is 349 days, which is the 70th prime in his name. Nikola Tesla equates to 70. And it's interesting because the guy who uses his name, Elon Musk, he's at the tail end of being 54 years old, and he's going to turn 55 in 4 days, which is one of these earthquake numbers. And for people who don't know, go back and look. January 7th, 2021, that was the 78th death anniversary of Nikola Tesla, and that was the day that Elon Musk was said to be the world's richest man for the first time ever, passing Jeff Bezos. Go back and look. January 7th, 2021. We've talked about it 1,000 times. Tesla 78, like Jesuit. When Trump turned 78, him and Elon Musk united in politics. And go back and look at the January 7th, 2021 story. They said Elon Musk was worth $191 billion, and he'd passed Jeff Bezos, who was worth $187 billion. And yeah, 191, 187. And then what else is funny is billionaire is 191. And now, just this short time later, Cooties 19 forward, where there's been all this consolidation of wealth, he's now worth $1 trillion. I mean, are you kidding me? But anyway, isn't that interesting how that lines up with Tesla's birthday today? And also interesting, the word that Tesla used for his technology to create earthquakes, telegeodynamics. That word equals Caracas, Venezuela, 157, which, by the way, is the 37th prime. And remember, Wednesday equals 37, and it is 37 days after the new leader's birthday, Delcy. Her May 18th birthday to today is 37 days later. We like 37 on Wednesday. It usually hits in sports. And again, it's also 37 days after the anniversary of the earthquake, the last big one in California, Caracas, Venezuela. Just so you see, 157, that is the 37th prime number. So here's a little blurb on Tesla and his theories on creating earthquakes. Nikola Tesla claimed that earthquakes could be triggered by mechanical resonance using small oscillators. He famously recounted an experiment where his high-frequency oscillator caused his New York laboratory and neighboring buildings to shake vigorously. He also theorized that earthquakes were preceded by gradual electrical shifts. Tesla patented a steam-powered mechanical oscillator designed to generate electricity, but by tuning the device to the natural resonant frequency of a structure, he asserted it could cause massive vibrations. There's something known as the New York incident. However, I cannot track down a date for this New York incident. In his later years, Tesla claimed he attached the pocket-sized device to an iron pillar in his Manhattan laboratory. The vibrations caused surrounding buildings to shake, drawing police and ambulances to the scene. He later stated he had to smash the device with a hammer to stop the shaking before the building collapsed. Okay. This idea of mechanical resonance, if it's true, what's interesting is, they often sync up events with the Pope and the Superior General. You see how mechanical resonance has the 163 and the 107? And keep in mind, Tesla's birthday is the 10th day of the 7th month, like 107. But earthquake is also 163 and 107. And then do you see the 82? Today's 82 days before the Pope's birthday. And don't forget the Latin for order out of chaos is also 82. It's also 53 like Caracas. It's also 46 like Caracas. So that is interesting. And they said these two massive earthquakes came 40 seconds apart. 40 makes you think of things like the destructive biblical flood. But then Japan also got hit with a 6.9 magnitude quake today. Remember, Catholic Church equals 69 and 75. You got a 7.5 in Venezuela and a 7.2 and a 6.9 in Japan. Again, New World Order and Catholic Church. Jesuits spent a lot of years in Japan. Again, a lot of their understanding of the world comes from studying in the Far East. And notice how it says the epicenter for the one in Japan was located 35 kilometers east-northeast of Kuji. 35. We talk about this all the time with the Jesuit rituals as well. Jesuitism is 35. Like Holy See is 35. Like Catholic is 35. All the time. See the video I put out last week on JFK's death on the same day Aldous Huxley died. Aldous Huxley published his big book, Brave New World, on the 35th day of the year. JFK number 35 killed on I-35 and where they intersect beyond just numbers. For the record, this 4-2 thing, it's Freemasonry's birthday. Freemasonry, modern Freemasonry, a Jesuit creation. Freemasons 42, as is Jesuit, as is Japan. They changed it to 7.5 and 7.2 in Venezuela. Add those numbers together. 7.5 plus 7.2 is 14.7. Just 147 Freemason code. And, I mean, just look at things. Just how baseball was. Look at the first game on the slate today in baseball. It was in Miami. Remember, not that many years ago, in Miami, you had the building collapse. Notice in the first game of the day on Freemasonry's birthday, the Marlins get the 42nd win, the Rangers get the 42nd loss, and the first score is 4-2. Then the Cubs come through and get the 42nd win and stay on 37 losses on a Wednesday. Again, Freemasonry's birthday, right? Miami just had the building collapse not that many years ago. So we were saying that there, like, man, people are just clueless. A building comes down and it's a big mystery on Masonry's birthday? Come on. Buildings across Venezuela at risk of collapse, government says. That's in addition to the ones that already came down. Venezuela has deployed security forces across the country to respond to emergencies as many structures are at risk of collapse. according to the Ministry of Communication and Information. The government has authorized the shutoff of direct gas supplies to certain buildings as a preventative measure while authorities assess damaged structures, the ministry added in a statement. The quake was felt in states across the country, including Uruguay, Lara, Merida, Aruga. I'm not even going to try to pronounce all these places, but anyway, a lot of cities impacted. It's obvious this isn't nature. This is order out of chaos. This is destroy and rebuild. This is the secret societies doing their thing. And I mean, every day they do their thing. It's just some days it's a lot more sinister. Maybe sinister is the right word. More sinister than other days. I mean, this is pretty sinister. Just middle of a city where a lot of people are. Boom. Boom. And then, yeah, just the California one today. Again, you just saw in the news clip, they had to show you what happened at the baseball game in Venezuela. Then I'm connecting it how with one of the main active Venezuelans, he plays for the Giants, who are playing Oakland, which is a reminder of the 1989 World Series earthquake that was won by the Athletics. Today, they tell you it's a 5.6 in Northern California. Look at it. Oakland Athletics, 56. Run it in reverse, Athletics, 56. Society of Jesus, 56. Freemasons, 56. Gavin Newsom, the Jesuit governor of California, who this earthquake is synced with, 56. Tesla's machine that allegedly could create earthquakes. Tesla's oscillator, 56. The Rock, who's in the big Hollywood movie about the massive earthquake. Today's his 54th day of being 54 years old, and the 1989 World Series earthquake happened at 5:04 p.m. sharp local time on the West Coast. 5:04, like baseball's 54 forwards and backwards, like there's 54 outs in a game. Of course, Jesuit Order's also 54. And then from the anniversary of the 89 World Series quake to today, span of 251 days, the 54th prime. Did I close the news clip? I shouldn't have closed the news clip. I almost just want to play it back. If you got here late, watch the beginning of the video. I showed the news of Venezuela. They had to show you what happened at a baseball game in Venezuela. And then right after they're done with that, then they go to the California earthquake. It's just like, oh my God, man. People just don't get it. They just don't get it. And remember that back then they played at Candlestick. The power was out from the earthquake. People had to use their candles at night after what happened at Candlestick. Jokes on jokes. But yeah, when the California one was reported, the next thing reported was the 7.1, which again, they've now changed to a 7.2 and then a 7.5. And just also interesting, the 1989 quake was exactly 24 weeks after The Rock's birthday. Then in 2024, if you weren't here, you can go back and watch the old videos. I predicted, I said, watch, there's going to be 2 earthquakes this year in California on these days synced with The Rock. We circled the dates months in advance. Both days had earthquakes. It was all synced up with The Rock and his movie San Andreas. That was in 2024, but now here we are on the 24th of June, and yeah, I didn't do any research on this year. I guess I should have, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised on The Rock's 54th day of being 54, born in 72. Again, we got the 7.2 going on. Seismologist, the study of seismology has a lot to do with the Jesuits. Their most prominent seismologist died at 72. It's interesting how seismologist is 162 like baseball. Like there's a 162 game season. And Major League Baseball, because they did have to put that in the broadcast, didn't they? They had to show you the baseball game going on in Venezuela that was impacted by the earthquake. And if you don't know, follow the MLB. It's a 162 game season. Major League Baseball, 162 forwards. Baseball, 162 in reverse. 18 half innings, 54 outs. That's the way a baseball game is. Whoops, wrong one. Yeah, and again, just the overlap with earthquake and military. 107, 44, 55. Wednesday's the 44 day. As we talked about, Caracas has the 143. It's 37 days after the leader of Caracas's birthday on May 18th, and it's also 37 days after the anniversary of the last major quake in Northern California. And keep in mind, again, Tesla's birthday is 10/7, like earthquake, the man who supposedly had the technology to create quakes 100 years ago. So if he had it back then and it's true, what, you don't think they have it now? You don't think they've advanced on it by now? You don't think they made improvements in the last 100 years when pretty much everything technologically has been improved a lot? But yeah, May 18th, 1940, the last time an earthquake this big in Northern California. And it is Wednesday, the day of the week, named after Mercury. Again, the news in the newspaper in the Bay Area is the Mercury News. Mercury's the messenger. Mercury's 86. It's been 86 years since there was an earthquake this big. And just for another 86, I should have put it there the first time, but Jesuits, Jesuits 86. Jesuits are known as tricksters. The 1800s dictionaries referred to Jesuitism as trickery and deception. Mercury is also known as the trickster. So it's funny how it fits together, and Gematria is so perfect too. Comey did the 8647 thing on Mercuralia, 8,647 days after 9/11. And Mercuralia is 47, like Trump. Mercury 86, Mercuralia 47. And keep in mind, Trump just turned 80. Mercury's the 80th element on the periodic table, so we'll see where they go with that. Does he get 86, 47 while he's 80 connected to Mercury? But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what could be more obvious, honestly. Earthquakes that knock down buildings on Freemasonry's birthday, and they're telling you they got to rebuild. I mean, the reason it's not obvious to everyone is because if you went out and surveyed people in the world, how many people do you think know that today is modern Freemasonry's birthday? My guess is not many. Not many. That's why knowledge is power, and most people don't have nearly enough knowledge. And it's sad, too, because we're all living in the information age. I mean, the average person could be a lot more knowledgeable than they are if they made an effort. That's why they put all the entertainment out there. They know entertainment's going to keep people from seeking the knowledge. A lot of people are like, what? I don't want to study. I don't want to read. It takes a little bit of work and effort, man. I just want to sit back on my fat ass and put on something funny and have some nice whatever in my mouth. Smoke, drink, chips, sweets. But yeah. It just isn't good enough. It just isn't good enough. And then you see these broadcasts on YouTube right now talking about the earthquake. They got like 100,000 people watching, and all they're doing is showing clips of the news. And you're like, what? How is this possible? Who's watching these people that are just pretty much showing the news? Meanwhile, over here, we barely got 200 people in the room dropping nothing but truth bombs, exposing what's actually going on. That's what's wrong with the world. What's
Hello?
up, Truth Seeker?
Oh, my bad. Let me get my notes. It's not much to add, but Venezuela was 39, and there's Arturo Sosa.
In light of it being the 309th birthday, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 309th birthday. Venezuela is also 42, like Freemason. I should have put that up there. But yeah, you're right. 309 and 39 do kind of have a jive. Arturo Sosa 69, I suppose, like the 6.9 in Japan. Actually, Arturo Sosa 147 as well. I guess 7.5 plus 7.2, 147. I guess I overlooked a few things there just with his name. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never really looked at his name before. I don't know why. Also from Maduro's birthday, it's 213 days. I don't know if they're maybe pointing to LA for something.
Okay.
And then the new Moana film, since you're talking about Tesla, it comes out on July 10th. And it's going to be on The Rock's 70th day of his age.
Yeah, and that when they debuted the trailer for that's when Maui burst into flames, and The Rock plays Maui in Moana. So, yeah, we talked about that in a big way when that happened.
Yeah, Moana equals 44 and like Maui.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But yeah, man. Once again, just great job.
All right, yeah, very, very good additions. I should have had them, but I'm glad you were here to catch them. Nice work.
Yep. I'll see you, man.
See ya. Yeah, it does fit together quite well. It is the 309th birthday of modern Freemason. You see it right there. Messi turned 39 today. Messi, who just had his scripted record goal. In case you guys missed that, if you're tuning in for the first time, talking about South America, we must be interacting with a few football players. If you guys haven't been following us for football, you've been missing out, man. Changed people's lives with the last World Cup. It was too easy to call why Argentina was going to beat France before the tournament began. One day after the Pope's 86th birthday from Argentina. Argentina wins for the first time since 86. But yeah, just like they could script an earthquake, they'll script Messi becoming the all-time leading scorer in the World Cup. And they did it again on the 40th anniversary of Diego Maradona's Hand of God goal. Diego Maradona's full name, 173, June 22nd, the day both things happened, the 173rd day of the year. That's the 40th prime. 40 years to the day, Messi sets the record. United States, US, USA, and World Cup, all 40. Both guys wore 10, 17th goal in the year 26, 55, the 10th triangular and Fibonacci number. Passes the German at the 38th minute while 38 years old when the Nazis from Germany fled to Argentina. Jokes on jokes, you guys. Dallas is 13 land. It was 13 days after the guy he passed birthday, the German. So, and then the bigger part, too. I mean, well, it happened on 74 date numerology. They call him Messi the Messiah. We're talking about the Society of Jesus scripting it all. And 2-0, by the way, if you missed the actual stream where we did, I played the clip of how that morning before the game was played, I suggested Argentina would win 2-0 2 days before Messi's birthday to become 2-0 in the tournament. Messi 20. So we had that called before the game was even played. And then, yeah, it was Messi's 201st international cap with Argentina. That's the high calling card of the Jesuits, 201. Last time in 2022, Messi was by himself in room 201 while Pope Francis was the first Pope to live in suite 201. Huge number with the Jesuits. Huge number with FIFA. Huge number with the scripters. And yeah, Messi also did it 61 weeks after the Pope died on Rome's birthday. All roads lead to Rome, including today's earthquake. I'll plug in the rest of this later, but yeah, that is pretty unbelievable. 7.5, 7.2 added up 147 like Arturo Sosa. In case you thought this was some kind of accident. And remember, the Jesuits are behind seismology. Are these even the real numbers? They can just fudge the numbers any way they want. Are you going to go out there and tell me it wasn't a 7.5 or a 7.2? Because at first they told us it was a 7.1. They got to go through the whole gematria, number ritual. So Alan Greenspan earlier this week just died by that 22471 code. Died on the 71st day of the new Federal Reserve chair. 71st day of his age, and you see Federal Reserve's 143, died 143 days before Arturo Sosa's upcoming birthday. Federal Reserve, 71,235. The Society of Jesus, 71,235. 224 like Alan Greenspan. Day after day. All right, I'm going to open up in here, and then I'm going to let Marco close us out, because I know when I let Marco on, he goes for a long time. What's up, open up?
Yeah, I'll just be real quick. I believe there's an echo.
Oh, shit. My bad, you guys. I forgot to hit that button. All right. Sorry, last caller. Last caller had an echo on. Now it should be good now.
Yeah, well, the only thing I wanted to bring up, I don't know if you may or may not have said it in this stream, but I don't think I saw it in your notes. But on the stream you did earlier, I think it was Gematria 32 or someone else that brought up the 257 with Gavin Newsom today. 257.
Oh, yeah. 257 days after his birthday, 55th prime, earthquake and military 55. Yep.
Yeah, and I believe he's currently 58 as well, right? Going with the Freemasonry.
He is 58. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to add those things in because we know they always include the governor when these
Yeah.
things happen, shootings and earthquakes. Yeah.
Sure. I'll put it up on the screen because you're right. I covered it in the last stream, but I forgot to cover it in this one. Let me scroll down. Yeah, right here, you guys. 257 days after Newsom's birthday, 55th prime, earthquake and military, 55.
Yeah.
All
But
you guys
I mean,
follow Dutch Since. If you guys know who that is, the guy that all he does is cover earthquakes. He has made fun of my work saying it's absolutely stupid and pointless. And the first time he attacked me was a date that I called a 5.5 magnitude quake on 55 date numerology on December 6th. What year would that have been? December 6th, 18. Must have been 2017. So, man, time flies. But that day had 55 date numerology. And if you look in the Bible, there's a 612 verse, like December 6th can be written 612 about an earthquake. I said, watch, they're going to do something big with 55 and earthquake that day. Sure enough, it happened. And then Dutch Since made a video about how dumb that was. Again, you guys, be careful who these gatekeepers are out here. Dutch Since can sit around and look at earthquakes all day, but he doesn't lead you to anything. So we're showing you who's actually doing it.
yeah, and there's a long list of, these 55s and 44s, 107s that you've done over the years.
Not to mention, I got a book that's a decade old on it.
Right. And unfortunately, we're going to have more in the future because it doesn't look like
it's like Dutch Since out here getting all the views and misleading people. So
yeah. But yeah, I appreciate your work, Zach. Good stuff as always. Take care.
yeah. Good reminders as always. Appreciate it, man. Okay. See you.
Good stuff as always.
All right, I'm gonna let one more guy get in before Marco, because Marco's always got a lot to say. After this guy, I'm letting Marco go. So if you guys come in, be prepared to wait. What's up, Daryl?
I'm scared. Oh my god, I'm scared. Oh, they're
Daryl?
pushing it on me.
Hello?
Oh my god, look at Muslims are taking over.
Oh, I could tell it's some kind of weirdo. What's up, Marco?
Hey, what's going on? So, you know me, I like to stay on topic. So we're talking about the number one thing I caught with the seismograph readings was that Arturo Sosa. So I'm glad you caught that. But don't forget, Sosa was not too far off from visiting. I think it was like 35 months ago. 35 months ago, Sosa was in Venezuela on June 26, 2023. 35, Satan equals 35. But either way, the other thing I wanted to mention is just in regards to like masonry. It just so happens that recently on X, I was able to reply to some sort of Freemasonic account. And I'll tell you, I finally got some confirmation from what it looks to be like another Mason. But I said on this particular post, they were talking about the fact that Freemasonry is open. Let me read it. Hold on a second. They were like, Freemasonry is open to anybody that wants to learn about it and blah, blah, blah. But I replied and I said, what are you talking about, Freemasonry? I said, the royal craft. And I said, witchcraft. So mote it be. And then I actually got a like from a fellow Mason. It looks like it was some guy named Mark Matthews. And I pulled up his profile. He had all the regalia on and everything. It looks to be some sort of master Mason. But again, it confirms what I've been saying.
Not that high, right? That you're still in the Blue Lodge as a master Mason. That's the 3rd degree.
Yeah, I can't really tell what he is. I mean, he did have the regalia on, but yeah, no.
I mean, you get that. Some people just are so they're like, man, he was a master Mason. I mean, you and I could become master Masons in a month if we wanted to.
Yeah. No, it's that Scottish Rite Lodge. That's a whole different number. And listen, I don't know if you knew this, but when I went to the House of the Temple in Washington, D.C., they do public tours. So I went on. I actually checked out the House of the Temple where it has order out of chaos and all that stuff. Now, what came to my attention with these guys is that if I actually forgot about this, I think I knew this at one point, but they said that Albert Pike is buried in the House of the Temple.
They moved his body there. Yeah.
His body, they said, was transferred over from Jesuit Georgetown. I said, oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. But either way, there's that little nice connection with the Jesuits right there in Albert Pike. But like I tell people, it's rather simple, y'all. It's rather simple. There's been an exploit done by a gentleman that I think used to be on like a Australia's Got Talent or something like that. But he used to be like a 33rd degree. And he came out saying this is the biggest religion in the world. It's just the biggest undisclosed, like not like undercover religion in the world. He said the number one religion in the world is Masonry. But he essentially obviously then goes to just show you essentially what I used to always think. I would tell my wife, I'd be like, hey, boo, I think that Masonry is just a filter system to witchcraft.
To be fair,
I would just throw that out there, right? But then,
hold on, Marco, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Masons will take issue with what other Masons say because there's not like just one doctrine. And I've seen Masons debate about this because it's not really fair to say that Masonry is a religion, because it's not, like a religion has a book. And Masonry doesn't just have one book. I mean, a lot of people will go to Morals and Dogma because Albert Pike wrote it and he's such a prominent Freemason. I don't think it's fair to say that Masonry is a religion, because you can belong. You just have to believe in God to be. You can belong to any religion and be a Mason.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. When I went to the House of the Temple, I went to like pretty much all the big rooms. But one of the rooms, he said they mentioned like there's a bigger room. It looked more ceremonial. He's like, but they had them both set up in the same way, where there was an altar in the middle, and they had the three Abrahamic faith books there, along with I believe it was the Bhagavad Gita. So they had they had the Torah, they had the Quran, and they also had a Bible. And then so again, yeah, that's look. But this is what I tell people: what they need to get past is the idea that it's a filter system. They'll get you in, but it's all compartmentalized. But then what the guy said is at the top, yeah, they do worship the devil. And this is what he then goes to say. They call it why do you think I got a like from a Mason? He knows that I'm onto them. But they call it in Masonry the royal craft. And then what the guy goes to say in his exploit against Masonry is he's like, which craft do you think he's talking about? And he's like, it's witchcraft. And that's what they practice there. But then what he goes to show you,
the craft. I mean, that's the word that they use, and craft does equal 33, like Masonry. I mean, I've talked about that a lot. So
yes, but what this man goes to show you is that he then compares their rituals, done in secret, of course, but their rituals are the same exact rituals as what witches practice. And by the way, this is something you need to add to your repertoire, Zach. There was recently a Discovery Channel documentary on Spanish witches, right? Witches in Spain. And they end up using the word practicing magas. Practicing magas.
That's the masculine for mega. Just like mega and megas are the top.
They were literally using the word for practicing witches. And the idea that this man was showing with Masonry is that their rituals and their statements are exactly the same as when they looked at witchcraft rituals. And one of the main statements, by the way, is so mote it be. There's been undercover like initiation video that's been put online that they do show you that's what they say. They say so mote it be in their stupid rituals that they do undercover. But the idea is that witches do that too. They say so mote it be. It's the same thing. Why is it the same thing? Because it is one and the same thing. It's just that they sugarcoat it to make you think, oh yeah, we worship God. Yeah. Wink, wink. Until they just try to feel you out. They just try to feel you out. They're like, okay, how dark do you want to get? Are you down with worshiping the devil for a little gain in this earthly life, this temporal earthly life? And then you get, you start going down what they call the rabbit hole. But it's funny. I have a documentary on this as well. I also included it in my film Corona Rage. And they have a song by this satanic rock band called Square Hammer by the band called Ghost. And it's essentially talking about doing a deal before the devil. And it's called Right Here, Right Now. But like they spell Scottish Rite, R-I-T-E. But the idea is that's like their theme song. After I heard that song, I'm like, this satanic rock band, they made a theme song for all the Masons. How they make this deal before the devil in the shadow of night, and they say right here, right now, and you're like, man, they even spell it like Scottish Rite. But look, that's what people need to understand. Okay, the veil's pretty much as thin as can be as we head to the end. I'm telling you, by this Mason liking what I said, that just shows they don't give a crap if people know, because it's so close to the end at this point. But yes, look, Masonry is a filtering system into witchcraft. Okay, and now what is witchcraft? What is witchcraft? You got to ask yourself, what is witchcraft? The Bible has some very interesting insights into witchcraft, especially like with the Witch of Endor in the Book of Kings. But the idea is that these people, they just deal with Satan and his angels. Okay, the Bible says that sin is as the rebellion of witchcraft, where they reject the Lord and they go after Satan and his angels for power. So that's the idea. Okay, that's what witchcraft is in general. Like the real witches, they're the ones that truly deal with these devils, some of which are named in the Bible, like Beelzebub, Belial, obviously the devil himself, Lucifer.
Samael's another name for Satan.
But I know about that one, but I'm just saying certain devils are mentioned in the Bible. Like that says the prince of the devils is Beelzebub. That's the prince of the devils. So you have the king, which is Lucifer, which fell as lightning to become Satan. But then you have the prince of the devils, that's Beelzebub. And then you have Belial, that's another. And then obviously you have the king of the bottomless pit, which is Abaddon or Apollyon in Greek. But the idea here is that that's what these people deal with. That eventually they just start summoning these people up, sacrificing towards them for earthly gain, earthly powers. And that song called Square Hammer? It even talks about getting powers that are clandestine. Clandestine undercover powers. I mean, and that's what they have to do, man. So yeah, no, for me, I'll show you. Another thing that really hit me while I was in Rome recently is I actually finally got to see the main church that they dedicate to Mary. And what I tell people, the Vatican Mary is Mother Babylon. Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. But they have a main church in Rome for Mary, which is Mother Babylon. But in that church, you can see all sorts of crazy stuff. That's where the Jesuit Pope is buried. But I got to see George in his tomb, along with that little cross that has Judas on it. But remember, the Jesuits are the Society of Judas. They have hope for Judas. But you know what? In this church, if you want to pull this up, go to Mary Major, All-Seeing Eye. And I'm just like, I finally got to see this thing. And I got some good photos of it, but you can see this particular church, it shows the all-seeing eye. And it also shows the hexagram. All right. I was like, that's what the Bible calls the Star of Remphan. So I was just like, look at this here, man. And also, when you go see the actual image that they have for Mary, that George would always worship before he goes on a trip and back from a trip. The Jesuit Pope would always go to this church to worship before this idol, before and after a trip. But then on the side of it is where you can see the IHS. And I'm just like, listen, man, listen, this is getting, if you have eyes to see, man, this is just so blatant at this point. But I did want to connect that because you've already highlighted before the Church of the Jesuit, and right across the street, don't forget the building that the Freemasonic Scottish Rite of Rome is based in is building number 47. So you got the 54 building with the Jesuits, but you got building 47 with the Scottish Rite Lodge of Roma. And right before it, you had a nice, I'm telling you, I got some nice photos. But right before it, you have this nice big-ass image of a dragon. And I'm just like, listen, y'all, you need to add that to your repertoire, Zach. In the Church of Ignatius, like I showed you, they got the dragon, man. That is who runs the show. Who truly runs the show, by the way. All right? I can tell you right now, guaranteed that.
That's like the East, right? The East.
Yeah.
Now, I got to share something with you, so I want you to think about this. About the Jesuits, they're the Society of Jesus, but, they're wolves in sheep's clothing, and they study in the East. So where Sweet Lady's from in Burma, she's in the Kachin state, which was colonized, by missionaries from the church, and they got their own new language, and they got their own Kachin Bibles. But it's interesting because they're kind of like hybrid people. They're not like Christian. They're the Christian state within Burma, but they're a lot different than the Christians in the United States. For example, her grandmother is considered the good white witch. She was the healer. She's the one that would go pick the right leaves. And she said Her grandma told her that it's all about the words that you say when you apply the medicine. You have to speak the right words to the leaves to make them heal. And they have to be specific depending on what the need is. So now the Christians I knew, if they knew you were talking in spells to leaves for medicine, they would think this was evil, right? But in their culture, this is still the old way. So they keep that, but then they also take the Christian from the people who came and taught them. So her grandma identifies as Christian, but she's also a white witch. So you see what I mean about this? Isn't this kind of interesting? We got for witches, because there are people who identify as being good witches and they see themselves as healers and whatnot. There's different types of witchcraft out there, to be fair. So technically, my sweet lady's grandma would be a witch, but she wasn't a bad person. She was just the person that healed people and animals. So
yeah, you could even call them like I know that there's other names that people like to use, or like shaman or something like that. They use like herbal remedies that they find in their native habitat. It's funny you bring up these Jesuits right now in like these sort of areas, because as of like, I think yesterday, you got the Jesuits that are over here. They just posted something on their global Jesuit website, and it's called The Eclipse of an Era, how the Jesuits changed the skies over Beijing. And it shows how Matteo Ricci with the Jesuit order came into China and won China over by their accuracy in predicting eclipses. And I said, listen, it shows you these people have been tracking eclipses for a long ass time. Okay. And that it shows you how they got their foothold into China initially.
They're dominating the world through knowledge. That's what you start to realize. You're like, man, the Jesuits are into everything. They're credited with all these things. They're working harder than seemingly any other group to make sure that they're on top. It's not like they're just there by accident.
No, it was very interesting that they even mentioned eclipse. Like I said, man, I think we're on a crash course right now to that eclipse of the century that's going to be buck wild. But, another thing that I have scheduled for tomorrow, so I do want to get some sleep tonight, because at 8, I believe at 8 a.m. Eastern time, my time, I ended up signing up to a webinar with the Jesuit Curia of Rome, where they're going to dissect AI and the latest encyclical of Pope Leo with, magnificent humanity. And I'm just interested to see what the Jesuits have to say about AI. I recently watched a video that the astronomer of the Vatican, which is a Jesuit, had on AI. It wasn't so interesting, because I also want to see, how they're going to try to cover for stuff coming up. Because like I said, the COVID-19 is COVID AI. AI is going to take over like a hijack pretty soon, like you see in Pluribus. What you saw in Pluribus is what we're going to live out pretty soon. All right, where these people, they start, we're going to see that. We're going to see that, yo. It's about to get so freaky deaky up in here pretty soon. But I want to see what these Jesuits have to say about how AI, they basically, this whole webinar with these Jesuits from the Curia, from the main headquarters of Rome, I actually got to see that headquarters. I was like, I've finally been able to see this freaking thing. But, I was trying to see if Sosa would walk in and out, but there was a nice little coffee shop right next door, man. I had a nice little cappuccino there. But, it's like, what did they have to say? Because their webinar is on this premise: unpacking artificial intelligence and the new encyclical of Pope Leo. And like I said, Pope Leo, his motto, it has a singularity touch to it, because it says, in the one, we are one. And that's the idea. The COVID jab, they're all going to go into the singularity, and they're all going to be a hive mind. And like I showed you, there's that zombie film coming out called Colony. And I just found this out, by the way. In the film, that's actually what they call the zombies, the hive, the swarm. And recently, Donald Trump, he was out there posting on social media as him being the beekeeper, like that film that recently came out. Right. And he has a beehive at the White House. And don't forget, he's the father of the vaccines for the Vatican. But I do want to remind people, if you look up St. Peter's Basilica, if you look at the main baldacchino or whatever that colonnade thing is, at the top of it, you'll see some bees. All right, that also represents one of the coat of arms of the papal bloodlines there. But at the same time, you'll see the bees. I do want to tell you, Trump is not the beekeeper. It all goes back to Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Look, it's really her Jesuit Corona juice, but ultimately it's going to be all tied to the frogs coming up, the devil, the alien devil frogs that I call, of Revelation 16. Because recently I also saw this, Twitter profile. It's called Make Aliens Great Again, MAGA. And they said this, and it kind of it kind of made my wheels turn a little bit, but they were hinting at this. They said, quantum technology, quantum computing. He said, you're going to find out the truth, that it's ancient alien technology that has been reverse engineered. And I said, and Scottie Pippen recently on social media, on X, Scottie Pippen is all about laying some freaking mean old breadcrumbs. I challenge you guys, go check out Scottie Pippen's X profile. He's a trip, man. He lays down all these little breadcrumbs. But he also said AI.
Yeah, do you remember what happened to his son?
Yes. Died by the numbers. Yep.
He died at 33, like Scottie Pippen wore 33 on the first day of Taurus, the bull. And of course, Scottie Pippen played for the Bulls. And you wonder, it's like, maybe they don't exactly know what they've signed up for, but then it all comes home when something like that is them.
Yes, most definitely. Look, the way we see it, like with some of these humiliation rituals, the way I see it is that when you're on the other side, and you're playing ball for the other team, the idea here is that they have many ways to keep you in line. One of them is blackmail. The other one is probably humiliation rituals. But if ultimately you don't want to play ball, they're just going to assassinate you. And they probably have no problem with that. But I've also heard from other people that have sold out. There was a little rapper one time. He was on his Instagram on his live, and he said, I sold my soul. And he even said, this demon told me, who do I want to sacrifice? The demon said, you have to sacrifice someone you love. And he said, I couldn't sacrifice someone I love, so I sacrificed myself. So there is that game that they play where you have to sacrifice someone you love, or you will sacrifice yourself for this gain that this devil will help you get. And he also said in the live stream, I'm no longer happy no more. I can't sleep at night. I don't have a good feeling anymore once he actually did the deal. And what tripped me out is that the devil even told him, you sure you want to sacrifice yourself? He even actually wanted to confirm it. Like, okay. And then, shortly after that, he starts getting promoted by Bruno Mars while he was on tour and all that stuff. So you see other people in the group that are already sellouts, that have already sold their soul. Like Bruno Mars sacrificed his mom. But the idea is that once you're part of the network, then they start to hype you up with other people that are sellouts in the network as well.
I see.
Yeah, no, but it's a buck wild world, man. And like I said, man, look, a lot of this was presented to me early on in 2010. I just knew that the Bible's real. We're all headed to this freaking prophetic moment. And I knew the Vatican. That's why, like I said, Zach, I came to you thinking, how did you find out the Jesuits run the show? I just found out through the Bible, the Vatican's Revelation 17, and then I said to myself, who runs the Vatican? Like, what order? Like, you've highlighted that before. There's a lot of orders in the Vatican, but like, who's the most prominent one? And then I just came down to the conclusion, it's the freaking Jesuits. And, they've been at it for a long time. And listen, if you do enough due diligence, that's the only conclusion you can come up with. That's the only conclusion. If you're a good enough researcher, you can only come to that conclusion. That's the only conclusion. It's the freaking Jesuits.
Have you heard this guy denouncing what I'm saying by putting up this object that makes 3 different shadows? Have you seen this?
That guy was distracting everybody, bro. He was just distracting everybody, bro.
After that, I was like, oh God.
No. That to me, when I saw that, I was like, oh, no. See, you got to be better at commanding the conversation, because I was like, dude, this has nothing to do with what you're saying. I was like, bring it back to the conversation. Like, stop showing the stupid picture, You were giving them nothing but facts. And like I said, it doesn't matter what angle you look at it from. You're going to come to the same conclusion eventually. If you come at it from the left angle, from the right angle, from the middle angle, doesn't matter. The back angle, you're going to come to the same conclusion.
Yeah, if you do your proper homework.
If people are prudent enough, they're gonna see, man. You just have to do a little. And listen, it involves really looking at real history. The Jesuits love rewriting history and all that stuff. But the idea is that you will come to that conclusion, like they say, all roads lead to Rome. But like I'm telling you, in Revelation 17, it talks all about that is the Vatican. It talks about Look at how vividly God describes it. It's arrayed in purple and scarlet, the cardinals and the bishops of the Vatican. And it says it's on 7 hills. Remember, the Vatican Hill is its own hill, but it's on the 7 hills of Rome. That's how specific the word of God is, because it's on the 7 hills of Rome, but it's its own hill. And then it says it's got a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations, and it's full of pearls and gold. Go to the Vatican. If you've never been to the Vatican, just pull up some photos. You'll see what I'm talking about. But then it says full of names of what is it? What does it say? Full of names of abomination. And the idea there is that, like I tell you, the number one thing that they call the Pope is the Holy Father. And I always tell people that's what Jesus called his Father when he prayed to him in the Garden of Gethsemane. When a Pope calls himself Holy Father, that's as blasphemous as it gets. All right. So it's not abomination. I misread, but it's blasphemy, names of blasphemy. And like the Bible says, you shouldn't call anybody your spiritual father. Like they say, hey, father this, father that. And you shouldn't call anybody also your rabbi for all the Jews out there, because there's only one rabbi now, the Lord Jesus Christ. But like I said, it isolates the Vatican so vividly in Revelation 17. But I'm here to tell you, Zach, listen, I'm looking forward to it pretty soon. Recently, the Vatican, they put in a bunch of seismography devices to measure earthquakes in the Vatican. And I said, you know what? It doesn't matter.
Crazy earthquake that was all tribute to Tesla years ago. Watch this. I'll pull this up. While you're talking, I'll pull up this Italy earthquake that was no doubt a tribute to Tesla probably a decade ago.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I didn't know about that. I recently knew that there was I didn't know how bad of a magnitude it was.
Right here, almost 10 years ago now, 3:36 a.m. Italy earthquake, and it's the 216th minute of the day, the product of 6 times 6 times 6. But hold on. You go ahead while I go, because I haven't reviewed this in a long time, but go ahead.
I recently covered how the Vatican, they started installing a bunch of seismography material to measure earthquakes, you know? Because I'll tell you what, when I was at the Vatican, there was some cracks, man. There was some very notable cracks that I was seeing, like in the dome there and everything. I was like, wait a minute, these are some pretty massive cracks. But I'm here to tell you, it's not going to be an earthquake that takes out the Vatican. The Vatican is going to be burned in 1 hour by 10 kings that are going to hate the whore city. And that's going to happen towards the middle of the tribulation, because they're not going to need that Vatican anymore. All right. By the middle of the tribulation, that's when the beast gets killed and resurrected. And they're going to all be worshiping. They're all going to tell the people to worship the beast. And the Vatican is going to be a Judas to the gospel. They're not going to say that Jesus is the Christ anymore. By the middle of the tribulation, the Vatican is going to turn on that Jesus is the Christ, and they're going to say this man is the Christ after he gets killed and resurrected. And by the middle of the tribulation, there's going to be 10 kings that are going to give their power and strength unto the slain and resurrected beast, but then they're going to hate the whore. The whore is the Vatican, and then they're going to burn her. And you can see this, by the way. The most recent Fast and the Furious, they show you a character that actually starts bombing the Vatican, and I'm just like, they're just showing you before it happens. But the Vatican is going to be blown up in 1 hour. It's going to be a literal hour, by the way, and it's going to be in fire. And it's not going to be an earthquake, but it's going to be by 10 kings that are going to hate the whore. How are 10 kings going to finally hate the whore? Here's one of my guesses, okay? When everybody starts to rage like a zombie and the civilization collapses around all of us, because of all the COVID AI jab that went out to 70% of the world, I think people are going to come to the conclusion that it was the Vatican, and then these 10 kings are going to hate that damn whore, and then they're going to burn her. So I think people will find out, and they will. I think the Vatican will take the fall for the COVID jab after they rage, though, after the world starts getting crazy. All right. And listen, I just saw a recent zombie film. It's called "This Is Not a Test." It just came out this year, and it's called "This Is Not a Test," because pretty soon it ain't gonna be a test. Like, you know, you've been saying like, let's get the show on the road. Listen. When it gets on the road, Zach, we're gonna probably have to, buckle up, because it's going to affect all of us, because 70% of the world got that crap. But I'm telling you, this particular film, it has a good intro, because one day, Lady Gaga, she has a new song called Zombie Boy. And she says, we're going to be waking up a zombie pretty soon. Okay. And people are going to wake up a zombie. And the eclipse of the century, it starts on 4 a.m. Eastern time. So I think that gives us an indication that it'll probably be while people are sleeping here in America. But this film, it shows you when people wake up, all of a sudden this lady wakes up in her neighborhood and it's all going crazy. People are, like biting each other, stabbing each other. And then I found out this particular new zombie show or film is made by a company called A Nova Pictures. And that's another word that I told you that they like to use, like singularity. Another word that they use for this event coming up is called supernova. And this film was produced by a company called Nova. And that equals 82 with Gematria, like the eclipse of the century coming up. So listen, man, it's all here, man. It's about to go down. This is about to get crazy, but the COVID jab was to force us to the mark of the beast. It wasn't the mark of the beast. And it's just going to get crazy coming up. And that's the idea. Like when we see Pope Leo in office right now, I'm thinking, all right, let's see how long it lasts. You know, there's a film, Zach. There's a film that actually, before Pope Leo came into office, I need to remember what the hell this film was called, man. It's a Spanish film. I believe it's from Mexico. It's a horror film. Oh, yeah. I forget the name. I'm forgetting the name. Oh, yeah. I'll get it to you because I covered it. But you know, before Pope Leo came into office, in this film, they literally show you in the intro, it says Pope Leo the 14th dies of cardiac arrest. And then they have a pope that comes in as the false prophet, the final pope, that's going to aid the beast. But they also say he's a Jesuit. It's funny. They actually even say Jesuit. And I'm just like, is Bob not going to have that long of a reign? Because I'm also eyeballing that other guy, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, Pizzaballa, who I got to meet in Detroit.
Well, if that's going to happen, he might want to look out when he turns 72 there, huh? He'll turn 71 this year. He'll turn 72 next year.
And see, look, the way I see it playing out is that this deal with the beast to join the Abraham Accords of Saudi Arabia is around the corner. I see the tribulation is going to start. Remember, when people see that Saudi Arabia joined the Abraham Accords, it's around the corner. When they see that in the news, you need to understand biblically the tribulation just began. It starts with that. But then 3.5 years later, the beast is killed and risen. But as we head to 3.5 years later, the middle of the tribulation, that's when we're going to see the rage. That's when we're going to see the supernova. That's when we might see Pope Leo die of cardiac arrest. And then the last guy's going to come in as the last pope to close out the show, which I think is going to be Pizzaballa. Pizzaballa, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, who I got to meet. I had lunch and dinner with him. I got to shake his hand. And I recently saw him awarded with the highest civilian honor by Macron in France. I said, oh, no, bro, he's coming back. I said, Pizzaballa he was my pick to be the next pope. But let's see what happens. Let's see if Pope Leo lasts any longer. But like I said, it's also interesting that in these eclipses coming up for this year and next year, Leo is the zodiac sign in the sky that rules over these eclipses. That's why we have Pope Leo. But what's interesting, look at that stupid motto that he has. In the one, we are one. They're going in. That's singularity talk, man. That's singularity talk. And don't forget, Elon Musk, he said, this is the year of the singularity. Let's see if he's right or if he's just egging us on. We know, look, Elon Musk, he just recently invested a lot of money with XAI into Humane AI, which is the AI company for the beast, Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia. You got to note, Zach, no one covers this, man. No one covers this but me. But I'm telling you right now, the beast, he has an AI company, but it's a play on words. It's called Humane, but it's spelled Huai, Humain. Yes, that's called Humane like that. But what it shows you is what I've been saying. AI is within man now. AI is in humankind now. That's why it's called Humane. And, they recently had a podcast saying that we have an AI epidemic coming that nobody is ready for. And I'm just like, these people are so eager. Hey, listen, I also just reminded myself, you just had a chat, you just had a stream where you talk about, people think that they're awake when they're not. And guys, you guys need to check out a video that I have compiled. It's from the concert series of Imagine Dragons. And it's quite literally the devil talking to the audience. It's Satan talking to the audience. And there's an introduction that they have. And it says, he's like, are you awake? Have you ever been? Sleepwalking from one dream to the next. And then it says, until. And then he shows an eclipse. And then he shows graphene being modulated. But then he says, don't forget, you're safe like a prisoner in a cell. But he's like, don't forget, this world is full of treachery. And then he also goes to say, where there is darkness, there may light be also. And then it shows an all-seeing eye. It's quite literally the devil talking to the audience. But he tells them, he's like, are you awake? Have you ever been? I said, damn, Satan just clowning his children. But either way, you all need to check that out. Beingjustified.com. It's called, I have a film that I made where I compiled all these interludes of the devil in these concert series. The devil has all these interludes where he's talking to the audience. And then he also says, I cursed the power that sent me here. That's when I knew it was Satan. That's when I knew it was Satan. Because he's saying, I cursed the power, God, who sent me here to earth. Okay? And then he says, he's like, you can only love something when you can let it go. But then it shows him falling into a bottomless pit. And that's what happens to the devil coming up. When the Lord returns, he's going to be cast into the bottomless pit for 1,000 years. But then he's going to be loosed after and then deceive the nations yet again. But then God will finally cast fire from heaven. God the Father will send fire from heaven to finally destroy Satan and then put him in the lake of fire forever and ever to be tormented for messing everything up. It was Satan that messed everything up. The original rebel, like Hillary Clinton likes to quote, the original rebel, Lucifer.
Okay.
That was a lot. That was a lot. Sorry, but I'm sure I added to some people's understanding there.
Yeah, it's always interesting, Marco. It's always interesting. So,
yeah, y'all need to check out that film that I have. It's called The Great Dragon Speaks at the Imagine Dragons concert. And it's basic. I couldn't even believe it. I was watching their concert and I'm like, who the heck is talking here? And why is he saying this? And then I thought it was the devil, but what really confirmed it were certain statements like, I cursed the power that sent me here. And I said, oh, that's Satan. He's just talking to the audience. So if you want to hear the devil talk to an audience, you should check out that film called The Great Dragon Speaks at the Imagine Dragons concert.
All right, we will check it out. Always appreciate it, Marco. Always interesting, man. Love love the passion too. Marco's got the passion when he speaks. All right, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a good night, man.
You too.
Take care. He did remind me of this earthquake. It's crazy. This was already 10 years ago, but this was also on a Wednesday. This earthquake that wiped out this small Italian town. And because I was always fascinated by this idea that Tesla had the ability to create earthquakes. And you can see familiar parents here. We're talking about 191 in today's earthquake on a Wednesday, Tesla's birthday, the 191st day of the year. Remember, the Vatican has this great library of information, and they have so much stuff down there, a lot of people don't even know what's down there. If this Tesla technology is real, is it possible that it's archived in the Vatican and kept exclusively, to them and their related orders, like, say, the Jesuits, like how today Venezuela really got it, synced with the superior general who's from Venezuela? But yeah, here were the things I pointed out about this a decade ago and realized I'm a lot better at this now than I was 10 years ago. But 3:36 was the time of the earthquake in the morning, which is the 216th minute of the day. And as we'll get to, Tesla equals 216. But 3:36, Tesla had this quote about 3, 6, and 9. Hold on, my daughter wants to get in here. Grandma already took her away. She's already gone. Grandma's visiting. But anyway, yeah, the day that Italian town got hit was a date with 67 numerology. And I pointed out how from Tesla's death anniversary to that earthquake was 33 weeks. I didn't know reverse gematria yet when I did that. Otherwise, I would have pointed this out, that Tesla equals 33. So from Tesla's death anniversary to that earthquake that took out half that town, exactly 33 weeks. And now here we are on Masonry's birthday. And of course, the Masons venerate 33. We're talking about the 39 today too. It's interesting how many of the same numbers are in this post that we're talking about today. But yeah, the 216th minute of the day, and Tesla has that 216. And if you look at Tesla's story, he was given $216,000 for essentially him giving away his catalog of scientific secrets. He sold it for $216,000 is the story, which granted in that time it would have been a lot, but probably worth a whole lot more than that. So I remember I was really looking into this at the time and I was trying to understand 216. Notice how in Kabbalah, there's this relationship with 216 and 72. Isn't that interesting? And then today we got this thing sync with Tesla and it's a 7.2. I'm telling you, there's still so much more to understand of this. But that town was on the 42nd parallel. There's a certain group of magic numbers that always come together. I was pointing out how it was the day leaving 129 days left in the year. I didn't know back then that 129 was 201 in base 8 counting and how important that was to the Jesuits. There was a 5.5 magnitude aftershock. I mean, I didn't have reverse back then, so I didn't realize that earthquake was also 55. It was about 4 months later where we started really putting the reverse together. 3:36 in the morning. They stopped time. Yeah, but a lot of parallels between all these events, really, if you just go through them through the years. I mean, that's where the proof is. Somebody, I saw somebody in the chat said that what's his face, Mr. Three Shadows, is trying to attack me and saying that gematria is worthless. Okay. Again, consider that if that is true, if that's what's really going on, I'll listen for myself and say that's going on. Consider that guy right now is totally broke, has no money, has to work a slave job that he doesn't like, right? Doesn't have the money to do the projects he wants to do. I don't have any of those problems over here. Thanks to this knowledge. I mean, granted, I was doing well even before I found this knowledge, but if we're listening to some broke guy who signed up to be a useful idiot in the New World Order killing force, I mean, the U.S. military, which he did, talk about, again, you guys, it's just, the problem with this world is, if he is saying that today, he is smarter than the average dum-dum, but it doesn't take much to be smarter than the average dum-dum. It's just, people don't know their place. Mr. Well, look at all these shadows, though. Okay, and what? These people are laughable, man. Laughable. People like this are completely clueless about today's earthquake. Again, he actually recently did a video talking about these. Like, I think they have some kind of technology to create natural disasters. Like, okay, we're about 10 million years past. I think they have something. We're here putting the pieces of the puzzle together day in and day out and showing you who's doing it and likely what's happened. Look at all the Jesuit rituals with Elon Musk. And thinking about this, you guys, Musk is going to turn 55 years old in 4 days. Musk turns 55 in 4 days. Is this going to be the new thing with while Elon Musk, Mr. Tesla, is 55? Are we going to get... hold on. He would have turned 44 in 2015. Maybe, hopefully it won't be anything because I don't remember too many crazy earthquakes in 2015. The year he would have been 44. Let's see what happened in 2015 with earthquakes here. The biggest was a 7 point. No. The biggest was a 8.3 in Chile, 7.8 in Nepal, 7.8 in Japan. Yeah, 8.3 is pretty big. I don't remember this, though. I might have been busy that day. Hold on. I saw something. I forget what it was. I'm going to go back and look at this earthquake. Real quick. The most basic decode ever. Hold on. Musk's 2015 earthquake to the biggest earthquake of 2015. 80 days. It was also on a Wednesday, and Mercury's the 80th element. Huh. Wednesday and earthquakes. Wednesday does equal 44 like earthquake, but that might be a pattern we need to pay more attention to. Wednesday earthquakes. The one in Italy we were just looking at was Wednesday. Obviously, today's Wednesday. All right. Lori M33 says, "Thank you, Zach. We all know Gematria is real. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Much love. Appreciate it." Yeah, it's disappointing that it's disappointing as far as the research has come that we get a small fraction of the viewership we got 10 years ago. Like when that video on the 2016 Italy earthquake, I got way more views than this. It's just amazing. Hold on, I gotta put my headphones back on. What's up, Boston?
What's good, Zach?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Not much. I just had some extra time, so I figured I'd hop in the live stream. Just yeah, it's been a while. I haven't called in a long time, so I figured I'd say hi and see how it's going and stuff. But yeah, I know you did that other stream earlier. I was listening to that and about people, that are awake or think they're awake and they're really not and stuff. And it's like, and then of course, all the earthquakes today, the 5.6, 6.9, and all the calamity going on. And it's just ridiculous. And it's just like, all these people too, they want to look at us like we got some kind of gift or something for what we do. And it's like, well, no, this stuff it's easy to do. I mean, I can do this stuff on the top of my head. It's not like you have to be born with some kind of gift or have to be that amazing to do this or learn this knowledge. And there's just there's not many of us putting it out and that do put it out or have the time to put it out anymore. So it's just like it's like you're saying, all these people out there, and I even the other person, I haven't really had a lot of time to catch a bit on your streams lately too, but just these other people and what they have to say, and it's just amazing how we're the only people to point this stuff out all these years of being in the community for over 12 years now, and all the time I've looked into stuff. And
well, and the other problem is that a lot of the people that are out here that get viewers are paid for shills, like
right.
Dutch Sense. I mean, why would Dutch Sense attack my prediction that was correct years ago? I said there's going to be a 5.5 magnitude quake because it's 55 date numerology and earthquake's 55, and it syncs up with the Bible verse, and boom, it happens. And then he makes a video saying how dumb it is. It's like, okay, you're the guy here tracking earthquakes and saying you think something's going on. Here's probably the only guy on the internet who puts something together and makes sense, and it hits an accurate prediction, and then you make fun of it and say it's dumb. Either that's you're a shill or it's ego because somebody else figured out something that you didn't, and now you just got to make fun of it. So Dutch Sense is still here, just tracking earthquakes all day, every day, but doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, and it's just, that's the thing, is we're at such a point right now. I mean, even things, we've been pointing out too, UTTV. I know I haven't been on there in a while because I've been working and been busy on the weekends and stuff. And the stuff that we point, even the things that have happened these last 6 months have just been ridiculous. From, December going back to, and the flooding and the Seahawks and all that stuff, and then the Biffle death, and then you had the Kyle Busch death, and then you just had the girl from the ring. All things we've been talking about. And it's,
how about all the fathers connected to the Seahawks team dying? And the drunk GM getting up there talking about how many players lost their dad and brother this year, totally wasted. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, it's just, and that's just the thing. Really, everything we've been talking, we put it right on the money. Everything. The last 6 months have just been just absolutely just ridiculous. The headlines, people that are dying, the things that are happening. It's just ridiculous. And then, like I said, there's just so few people. You, me, you got UTTV, Logan, King. There's really barely anybody talking about this knowledge, putting it out. On the stuff I've put on UGTV, I basically put a book on there already, how this stuff is, gematria, no gematria, this, that.
Logan doesn't count, by the way. Logan definitely, talk about doing the work a disservice.
What's that?
Logan, he doesn't count. He does this work a major disservice. You're talking about Joe Pesci's nephew?
So I was talking Logan from UTTV.
Oh no! Oh, of course he does count. My bad.
Yeah.
I thought you were
Oh,
talking about.
I didn't know. I'm like, what Logan you were talking about? I didn't know what Logan
Oh,
you were talking
yeah.
about.
Okay, Logan who came out and pounded. I thought you were talking about that other Logan. Oh my god! I was like, no, he doesn't count. No, no. Of course that Logan counts. My bad. I thought you were talking about the other one. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I don't even know another Logan, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's just that's crazy. I mean, and the stuff I mean, all these predictions too. And I've been talking about even something happened like with the ring or the girl from the ring or something like that, and then go figure she dies. And I mean this, and then you had the Kyle Busch death and all this crap, and it's just like, man, I mean, and you still people that are, I mean, and there's people that know. I mean, there are some people that say, oh, the stuff's rigged, and all that, but then so many people, they still want to be entertained. They still want to watch it to see who wins, and they still want to care and see who is going to prevail and what the story is going to be and all this stuff. And that's just it. I mean, it's just so disgusting that, I mean, the Biffle death, whether he really died, the Kyle Busch death, and there was Ned Jarrett in there too. I mean, just massive, massive sacrifices. Michael Annette, Denny Hamlin's dad. I mean, it's just, and there's been a ton more too. I mean, I can't even keep up with it. And
It's nonstop. I mean, it's nonstop. Whatever this cult is that rules the world, it's obvious that they need the blood. It's like the witch in Weapons. She needs the blood. She needs people's hair.
yeah, it's just unbelievable. I mean, and then yeah, today all these earthquakes and stuff. I mean, I seen the one earlier, and then all these other ones are popping off, and people just want to think it's uh just random, and that it's just birthing pains or Jesus or just something stupid. It's like, no, there's this technology these people have to make all this happen. Weather warfare, the military, all this stuff. And I mean, it was, I know it's in northern California, but I mean, we haven't really had anything out here. I know what's his name was talking about this big June 11th prediction there that never came, but
Of course,
I
that
mean,
was never going to come. The day that we were out there, that was the day we met. He guaranteed I was going to die that day. The first time we ever met, the day that I was breaking
yeah,
up the March for Our Lives rally, he guaranteed I was going to die that day.
yeah.
Yeah, this day. Let me see if I can get that image up here. Here's the day I was supposed to die, according to Garo. Where's it at? Can I pull it up here? Where's it at? Maybe I can't get it up. Maybe it only shows up on the cell phone. Huh. Okay. I was going to get the image of us on the bullhorn breaking up the March for Our Lives rally. The day we were supposed to die. That was another June 11th.
Yeah, protect our kids. That was a highlight.
Yeah. They wouldn't let me on the stage, so I had to break out the bullhorn and say, enough with the bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, that day was a classic. Yeah, all the times we pounded pavement too. I mean, we met up 5 times, pounded pavement. Yeah, even that last time there down in Portland, that was something too that day. I mean, yeah, that's just the thing. I mean, so much has happened since that time. I mean, I've been busy keeping up and stuff, and it's just I mean, there's not a lot of people, like I said, that help get this knowledge. I mean, we pounded pavement. I mean, I've done so many things trying to get this workout, trying to help it. I support your Patreon. I'm on there, the $20 tier. So, I help fund your stuff, even though I'm never in the chat. Sometimes if I have time to go to the casino in bed, I will. But yeah, there's not many people helping out. There's not many people doing stuff. And it's crazy too. I mean, we're already almost, I mean, the day is already getting short already too. We're already past the solstice, so we're ticking away. I mean, we're almost to be in July, and then 4th July, August. I mean, I think I feel there is something massive coming very soon. Maybe perhaps this summer. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting.
It might
But
happen during the World Cup. Like I said, they put out a new show on Netflix set in Brazil. Big act of terrorism happens right around the time of the World Cup championship. We'll see. We'll see. News and sports, big events,
yeah, especially with Trump now too, in his 81st year of life, and next year he'll be 81. So that's a double play on the 81. So whether it's this year now being his 81st year of life, whether it's next year being 81, with that ritual and all that, I mean, there's something massive coming before that. I don't see things getting to 2030 without something major, massive happening. And all we can do is just try and make our lives better and do the best we can. But the world and everything else will just continue to get worse and stuff. And people, it's like I've always said, it's up to other people. I mean, we've done our part. We've gone out, pounded pavement. You've inspired me a ton to do it on my own and do all the things. We made the podcast, UTTV. I mean, but I mean, it can't just be it's like all the work on NASCAR I've done. I mean, there's no one else in the world that has any information. No one else is connecting the dots like that and knows that stuff, and everybody should. I mean, it's just, all the things I pointed out that are just undeniable. I mean, all the Chad Little, Kurt Busch stuff I've showed, and look how all the Chad Little, Kurt Busch stuff is played out this year. I mean, you have the Kyle Busch death, like the chase. He won the first chase, and then you have Chase, the Ring actress dying. I mean, it's just all these things we talk about, and it's just since I've even been on the podcast, I mean, I can't even keep up because how many things have happened in the last month or so. It's absolutely ridiculous to cover all this and to keep up, and for us to make all these predictions, to keep calling this stuff. It's like I just don't understand these other truth channels. There's a lot of other people I watch and stuff, but I just can't believe no one else can see this or will call this out or even touch it. It's just they're stuck on Jesus, or they're stuck on religion, or they don't believe in the Illuminati or the Freemasons or Gematria, and it's just like, well, what's there not to see? I mean, we prove our points every single day. The Jesuits will show you everything. I mean, they gave you the calendar, the English language. I mean, they gave you everything. So it's all self-explanatory. I mean, it's just, I can't believe that we're just this rare, and there's just so few people that talk about this. But I mean, I understand why some people might not want to, because you're not, people ain't going to want to watch your content. It's going to get shadow banned, you're going to get taken down, all this stuff. But I mean, if you're not talking about this, in my opinion, I mean, you're just not really talking about anything at the end of the day.
I hear it. So, well, I'm glad that you have dedicated so much time over the years, Austin. Appreciate it, man. What year was that, by the way, that he guaranteed we were going to die? I lost track of time. Was that 2021?
That was 2022.
2022?
Yeah, that was right when I moved back to Washington. Yeah.
Okay, so it was over 4 years ago already.
Yep. Yeah, time's flying.
It sure is. All right, man. Anything else you want to put out there?
Not really off the top of my head. I know I had some time, so I haven't called in a while, so I figured I'd hop in. I know you were, like I said, you were live earlier, but it's kind of busy with some stuff. And then I got off work, and then you went live again. I know I was catching up with all the earthquakes and stuff and seeing what was going on. So I'm like, yeah, I'll hop in the stream and stuff. But yeah, it's always good to keep up. And like I said, if I have more time, I'll hop in more. If I've been so busy at work, I didn't realize I was going to have as much work as I've actually had. But if I have more time, I'll be back on UTTV. But lately I've been just booked, and every pretty much Saturday, Sunday. I know I got another job this Sunday. So, but if I get more time, I know King, I hopped on one of his streams like a month ago too. I had some time. I'd never been on there, so I went over there. But if I have more time, I'll try and be on more, because I know I'm not around as much as I used to be. I'm not even much in the comments or much in the live chat anymore. I'm busy keeping up and doing other things and doing what I got to do on my end. But yeah, I hope all is well with you and everything's been going well. I know we haven't met up in a while. I know you were saying about going out there last Saturday or whatever, but I was busy working, so I wouldn't have made it. But
it ended up being real smoky. They had a fire right by where it was at on Saturday.
Yeah, they said this is going to be they said it was already like the worst season for wildfires already, or it's going to be the worst or ever. I know I was reading that. I think I posted on Free to Find Truth, I think like a month or so ago, but I know we were getting fires already back in like May and stuff. But weather's been wonky too. Usually there's not a lot of rain June, July, August, but there's been a little bit of rain more than usual. Usually they get like 2 or 3 days this time of year of rain in like June, July, August, but there was some rain earlier for like the one weekend. Now we're supposed to get some more this weekend, and it's been pretty hot, but it's just and they say it's super El Nino that they're conjuring up to, messing with the weather and these earthquakes and all this stuff. So yeah, it's getting crazy out here for sure. It's getting wild.
All right, I'm dropping the link in the chat. Austin and Logan have done a lot of episodes of UTTV. You guys want to sub? I'm dropping the link one more time so you see it.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised there's not more people over there too. I know there's not a lot on King's channel either, but like I said, there's not many people that talk about this. So I always thought there was going to be more on ours and King's, but a lot of people don't. They don't really go over to other channels. But
for some reason, the religious weirdo clique that does bad decodes seem to get the traffic these days, which is pretty disappointing. So, one of those things that makes you lose faith in humanity.
oh yeah, I hear it. That's about where I'm at too. I mean, that's the only thing I have faith in is pretty much myself at this point, and that's the only thing
I mean, guys, it's like that little fraud comes on here the other day and acts like a little kiss ass on here, but then it's just like he's a total fraud. The last time I was in his channel was about 3 months ago because he was in my thing. I thought, I wonder what he's gonna go say on his video now that he's doing the same thing I just did. And he starts the video by going, "Man, can you believe Zach missed this? It was so obvious." And I'm thinking, what in the hell? He was just watching my video, and that was literally the first thing I covered. That's how you're going to start your video? By acting like I missed something? That means just stop, you little fraud. You're like, well, Zach, I think you got him wrong. No, I don't have him wrong, you morons. You got it wrong. Anyway, go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, it's all like I said, all these channels out here, and it's I mean, and like I said, there's some other good channels I like to watch and stuff that they don't talk about Gematria or anything, but then it's just like there's all these other channels and it's just like, man, I mean, I can't believe the way they. I mean, and there's a lot of information too to be learned about other things as well, but I mean, like I've always said, I mean, it's like I said before, it's if you're not talking about this to me, you're not really talking about anything. I mean, this applies to everything, and these religious people, they just can't, it's all about Jesus, or they're too into Jesus or whatever. And they're not, I mean, there's not a lot of people that have real critical thinking skills. Not a lot of people that have an open mind when you really think about it. I mean, for us to be, for you to be doing this as long as you've been doing it, for me to be around as long as I've been around, talking about all this, and, we've been talking about weather warfare, or showing someone their spray in the sky, or just just real basic things they do. You just don't really have anyone else even talking about that. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, over here we talk about everything. I mean, you talk about everything on your channel. I mean, there's nothing we don't cover on my channel. I mean, and I've said many times on UTTV, this channel's for whatever. I don't care if you want to come on here and say whatever. I wanted to just get people on there, and it's just there's just really no participation. There's not many people that want to really help out, and that's the other thing too. I mean, going out, pounding pavement, like you said, if I have chances to do stuff, I can try and do stuff, but I mean, it can't just be the few of us doing it. I mean, and it shouldn't just be other people relying on us too. I mean, other people should be able to do all this on their own, and find the same information. I mean, this stuff that you can do in seconds off the top of your head, just based off of basic observations, stuff that's really flagrant, and like I said, there's just no one else pointing it out. I don't understand it. But for the most part, like I said, a lot of people, they just want to stay stuck in their lanes because they want to be entertained. They just want to see where things go, how they shake out. That's why that's why you still have people watching wrestling and football and NASCAR, because they just want to be entertained. They want to see what happens, where it goes, who's going to win, all that, instead of showing people, hey, look at all the things that have been happening the last 6 months and what it's all brought up, for the world and everything. I mean, it's just just like the Seahawks Super Bowl and everything that's happened since then. I mean, it's just the whole state of Washington. It's been nothing but Washington. I mean, it's just nuts. And the people around, I mean, it's hard to really talk to a lot of people about this stuff, because a lot of people, they're what's up? I mean, I've tried to get people like from the gym too to check out the channel or come on or something, but a lot of people they're too busy or they don't want nothing to do with it or they don't have time or it just doesn't interest them. So it's like, but then I feel a lot of times too, I rather be around people that are, in the real world and do real world things than just the internet. Cause I feel like a lot of, just not just the trolls, but just a lot of weird people hang out on the internet and, even in this community and stuff. And it's hard to know who's who and what people really are and what they're about. So it's sketchy. And even lately too, I mean, I haven't really, I just kind of had my head down, just, focused on work and making money and stuff. Cause it's just kind of almost what I'd rather be doing almost. Cause it's just like, you look at everyone else around, it's like, man, these people are weird. I don't know who's who. A lot of people, they're just big question marks. And it's like you said, I mean, there's not a lot of hope in humanity. It's just, there's hope in myself and people like you and the few of us that actually do stuff and want to do things. But, like you always say, it's revolution or bust. And that's 100% because, I mean, at this point, we're so deep in the game, it's going to take something like these massive earthquakes that are happening down there in Venezuela. And it's going to take something like that to, I mean, if they do that here, though, but the problem is people are going to say, oh, that was just a coincidence. That was God. That was Jesus. That was just random. Like, no, that was a well orchestrated, calculated event that they just pulled off, and people won't even see it. And that's the problem where we're at is people are just so far behind with everything. And
the reason weather warfare is so useful to these people is take a city like Seattle, for example. They still have the old town there where you can go on the underground tour. And there's people that really want to develop that. They don't want those little old brick towns. They don't give a shit about that. They want to build some more skyscrapers there. Seattle gets smacked with an earthquake. The new towers aren't going to fall down. They're going to be fine. That old town's going to fall apart, just like it started to fall apart the last time there was a big quake up here in 2001. Again, I mean, you just see what they do with this disaster capitalism. Hey, you want some new real estate? I got a good way to clear out the land. Bring in a little Katrina. Again, you guys, Katrina means purification. Think about it, man. Think about what they did to that city. Wiped out a bunch of people, built some new real estate. George W. Bush was the president. He said, "You're doing a heck of a job, Brownie," to the head of the FEMA at the time, as they did an absolute disaster job. But yeah, it's just, yeah, I don't know, man. It's amazing to me that people can't see what's going on in the world, Austin, just like it's amazing to you. I'd better wrap it up, though. I realize it is getting late out here. So, closing words, Austin. You get the last say.
Alrighty, yeah. I mean, I think I pretty much said my piece. Yeah, I just for the people that are still around here, I mean, I know like Logan's kind of doing the show. I know we've had some different guests on there. He's been kind of doing it by himself and stuff, but yeah, if other people, like I said, they want to go over there and they want to help out, and if I may be able to get back on there if I got time or whatever. People want to go over there. I was on King's stream a month ago too. I hopped on his, so yeah. I mean, now is the time to participate and help get the message out, because I mean, even if it is too late, I mean, I feel like you want to go out swinging. I think that's the way all of us want to go out, is at least swinging, and that's the way I intend on going out with a fight. So, whether it's not getting it out on the internet or whatever, however you're doing it, but help these other channels out, help other people out, help get some subs going, just help promote other people. Just do what you can. I mean, I know other people. I know they're kind of doing their own thing now, and that's kind of where I'm at, because that's just where we are. I mean, there's just not a lot of time to really do this anymore, and it does seem like it is kind of over for humanity, but at the same time, we're still in it, we're still fighting. So I think that's kind of just it. We just gotta just use the real people that are around and the people that really want to do something and try and make something of it, because it's like you said in that last one you had, the last video before, there's a lot of people that, they think they're awake and they're really not. There's a lot of people that are deceiving and sending mixed up signals out there, and, diverting people away from, this work and stuff like that. And it can't just be a few people pushing to make stuff happen. It's got to be collective. And for people like, you know, me and you that have been around this long, I mean, to not have really had an impact, it's, you know, it's like, who do you blame? I mean, we did our part, we did our job, but yeah, I just think, you know, people want to help out, you know, go, like I said, sub to UTTV, help that channel out, get out there. I know that one guy you had on last, you know, the last one, there was something with a Cash App or whatever. And I was going to send him $1 or help him out too. But I mean, that's another thing too. And people could do that for me as well. I mean, you know, it's not that I want people's money or to take your money, but I mean, if everyone pitched in $1 for me, I mean, I would be on UTV. I could do so much more. I mean, if people gave me enough, I go a pound payment. I mean, I could be out doing way more than I am, but you know, that I wouldn't have to work on the weekends. I don't have to do that, but you know, I've never asked for, you know, support or money, but you know, I'm willing to help others out. Like I said, I pledge money to you every month on the 20th, so I make sure you get my, you know, support and everything. So I mean, yeah, if, you know, everybody pitched in $1, I wouldn't have to do other stuff too. I mean, that's I know you brought that up in one of your other videos too that I caught up on when you said that as well, and that's a very true point. Yeah, I'm always helpful of others and sharing others' work and help get stuff out. But yeah, if we help each other out, we work together. I mean, we could all be doing a lot more too. And I think that's a big point. I think a lot of people don't really realize that. But yeah, a dollar goes a long way. It just, you know, everyone pitches in $1. All of a sudden, big things are happening that can really change and help a person's life, especially today with the cost of living and all the uncertainty, because it's only going to get more expensive and it's only going to go up from here.
Yeah, that's a guarantee. So that's a guarantee.
And you never know where we're going to be in another 6 months or a year. I mean, you know, you never know what's going to happen in your life. Something could be unexpected. You know, it's not just things are going to go up, but there could be other things that happen too that knock you off the ball, and then you don't know where you're going to be and stuff like that. And that's stuff I think all the time. You know, where are we going to be another 6 months or a year from now? I mean, you know, 2030 is coming rapidly, but they got all this stuff going on all over the place. So it's not just going to be me or this person getting affected. I mean, basically, it's going to be just about everyone getting affected one way or another.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. Indeed.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I had to say. I don't know if you had anything else to say or you had any questions or anything, or.
No, I mean, I completely get where you're coming from. I get everything you're saying. I mean, I feel like I've said all similar, very similar things many a times before. So
Yeah, it's rhetorical for us at this point. Very rhetorical.
yeah, yeah. Somebody who's listening wants to say something. I'll let them chime in here. What's up, DK?
I haven't seen that guy Austin for a while. I like him. I think what he did a couple when you went pounding pavement, he was with you a couple times.
Yeah, at least 5 times.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy's good. I would like to see more of him if possible. I just want to say, like these controlled opposition channels, like Christian White, or even that guy Logan Decode Your Reality, and this new one with the Architects of Humanity. One good aspect of this is the best the military has to put against people like, you know, me and you. Well, not really me, more like you. I've been out of the game for a while now, but this is the best COINTELPRO that they find the smartest guys they have in the military that can actually talk, you know, and filibuster like they do. And that's the best they got. And you can see how at what IQ level it's going. You know, you can tear them apart in one show and like after like 30 minutes. So, you know, they're not very formidable. That's why they have to control all aspects of the internet and all that, because you put real people in there, you know, we'll just tear them apart. Just like, you know, I was trying to tell some guys that I played soccer with, you know, weird kids, like now that the World Cup's going on, they're asking me about it or whatever. I'm like, you know, I mean, this is like a joke. They're, you know, projecting this guy Messi like he's the best player in the world. I mean, dude, he's like a little midget guy who's not even fast. You see him playing on Miami.
It's a lot like Tom Brady in the NFL, another guy that would never be in the NFL if it were real. And he gets to go down as the greatest of all time. That's how big of a joke it is.
These guys, like literally some of these young, like, you know, Hispanic guys on Miami FC, like they got a play going. They got created an advantage. And then they're just sitting there waiting for like 5-10 seconds so Messi can wobble up the field. And then they just pass him and he just kicks it in. I mean, it's just like, are you serious? Like, and, you know, I'm talking to these guys that, you know, that I played with when we were younger. I'm like, dude, let me guard him for like 15 minutes. He won't even touch the ball, let alone do something with it. He wouldn't even be able to receive a pass. I'm like, if there's anybody that was like literally that much better in soccer, you can completely take him out of the game because you can't really do anything if you can't get the ball. In basketball or a sport like that, you can post your guy up. You can force, you know, a one-on-one situation. In soccer, you could completely eliminate a guy. And I'll just tell a story at my tiniest level that I played at. Basically, I was playing for a team kind of like what you would call like on loan from another team. And so I didn't know really the coach or any of the players. And the coach was speaking German and he didn't know English. So there was like an English interpreter, an Italian interpreter, and a couple of other guys that were like from some African nations. They had their own interpreter, like a Nigerian guy, because, you know, you're not going to get it. Team's not going to hire an interpreter just for one guy if he speaks a different language. So the coach is talking and he's saying how, you know, before the game, okay, here's the, you know, style of play we're going to use today. This is the system we want to run. And, you know, this other team, of course, they got this one guy who led the league in scoring last year, you know, so we got to keep him contained. You know, he's going to obviously do his thing, but we want to try to contain him or whatever. And I kind of like raised my hand and I'm like, hey, just for shits and giggles, let me guard this guy. Let me play out of position. And my position was like a position that's not even a position anyway. We would play like a 3-3-3, like 3 defense, 3 midfield, 3 offense. And I would play in between the offense and the midfield and just like a roamer. So I can play midfield and offense or whatever, depending on the team. If they needed like good midfielders, I would play that. If they already had good midfielders, then I would play striker by myself, just single forward. No other forwards. Everybody like 5 midfielders, 1 forward. But you got to have a really good team for that. So anyway, I'm like, hey, let me just guard this guy. You know, let's see. I mean, if he's that good, he's going to do what he's going to do anyway. But let's just, for shits and giggles, you know. So the first half, this guy touched the ball 3 times. And 2 of the times I was literally right on his ass. He got rid of it right away. And the other time, he tried to do stuff with it, but I was stronger and faster than him. Maybe he had a little bit better ball handling, but that's all like he could do. He can't do anything with it. I'm just faster and stronger than him. So I'll just let him do whatever moves he's going to do, and then I'll just body up on him and take the ball. So, like, you know, he had to get rid of it. He tried to do some moves, and I was just right on his back, pushing him. He had to get rid of it. At halftime, the coach told us, he goes, hey, good job to me. He goes, go back to your regular position now. And, you know, we were up 1-0. Within the first 15 minutes of the second half, this guy had scored 2 goals. Actually, no, he scored 1 goal and dished it off to a guy, which he could have scored anyway, and assisted on one. So now we're down 2-1. And like, you know, in any normal situation, the fans would be trying to stone our coach for doing that. Obviously, the move he made just totally changed the whole game. So then after the game, you know, I was talking to the English interpreter who was actually one of the assistant coaches as well. I'm like, dude, what the fuck was that all about? I'm like, this guy, obviously, he's great if you leave him alone in the middle of the field to showcase his stuff. But as soon as you get any pressure on him, he can't do anything, you know? It was totally obvious. Why did he do that? You know, he goes, dude, in the tunnel during halftime, as we were walking to the tunnel, the players all walk first and then the coaches come behind. The coach of the other team came over to the coach of this team that I was on loan to and goes, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I'm trying to showcase this guy. We're trying to sell him. And you're got a guy shadowing him. He can't even touch the ball. Looks like he's never played. What the fuck are you doing? You know, because I was playing on like a German Bundesliga Division II team there. And what these teams are trying to do is they're trying to build up these players, you know, artificially as much as they can so they can sell them to a bigger club for more money. That's all that they're trying to do. So the other coach is like, why are you doing this, dude? I'm trying to sell players just like you are, and you're fucking me. And our coach, the coach of that team I was playing for, goes, I know, you're right. We're going back to our regular formation, you know, for the second half. And then they ended up winning like 3-2 or whatever. Not that I cared. It wasn't like, you know, once you get to that level, you don't really care win or lose anyway. That's why these guys don't care. But I mean, just at that lowest level, you see what's going on. Like if that was like a big game or whatever, the fans would have, that coach wouldn't have been able to get off that field without security. They would have killed him, dude, you know, for taking a player off another guy. And then that guy just goes crazy and scores like 2-3 and assists on another goal and your team loses the game. The fans will, so like, you know, I knew right away, I'm like, all right, this is like kind of like bullshit. It's B division, but still look at what these guys are doing, you know? So you can imagine when you're talking about like millions or, you know, $50 million a year payrolls and stuff, you know? So that's just my little story on it.
Money corrupts everything. All right. Anything else, DK?
No, that's it, Zach. Sorry to hold you up.
That's okay.
All right.
See you, man. Anything else you want to add in there, Austin?
I don't think too much. It's interesting to hear from him. I haven't heard DK calls in sometimes, but I don't hear from him too much either. But yeah, just crazy all the stuff going on. I mean, you know, all these connections, all these things we've been pointing out. Yeah, the things I've been, you know, like I said, I was talking about, you know, all this last 6 months, all these things, and it's just all these every day. It's just like you don't know what's coming next, what it's going to be tomorrow, and like the Bush brothers stuff. They're from Vegas. Chase from the Ring, she's from Vegas. All these connections. The Chase, you know, all these just the way that we're being mocked every day, and people can't. People don't see it. They don't see the mockery. They don't see how deep it really goes. And you know, for us, it's so easy to see, and it's just so flagrant. Everything we talk about is I really just think they just watch, especially like even since no one really talks about this stuff. They just watch our channels and they look at this stuff and they find ways to just make these things up on the go and just mock us. It's like that last race they just had, the NASCAR race. That was the Coronado. Brand new track for the military and stuff, just ridiculous. And then kind of like a mockery of Taylor Coronado, Taylor's to Business, the murderer from Wisconsin that went to my high school that cut up Shad Theory and did all that crazy stuff, and the way they go and do that. And she got put in prison in 2023, and then you got 23XI winning the race. Another 23-year-old gets his first win. It's the third 23-year-old to get their first win this year. And just all this stuff, how just exact it is. Just nuts. You know, 23 has been playing hard. There's been a lot of numbers, 45, 54. They've been playing hard with like NASCAR and stuff this year. A lot of stuff they've been doing. The 11, I know even Ned Jarrett died. Like I said, he drove the 11. It's all the stuff they're doing every single week. So, I mean, yeah, it's just got to the point. I can't even keep up with it. I mean, there's so many things that it's so hard to, you almost have to hire multiple people at this point to keep up with all this stuff because it goes so deep and they just keep adding to it. And like I said, you would think with the way this keeps going and just the amount of things happening that there would be more people right now supposedly waking up. And there's people that, they say they're supposedly waking up, but it's like too, I mean, I don't know how you can really be awake and then still like supporting all this crap. I mean, this sick, I mean, who really wants to watch this stuff anymore when you're I mean, all the big names and big people they're killing off. I mean, last year I remember they had Hulk Hogan and we had Ozzy Osbourne and someone else die in like a week. And then this year it's just been like the last 6 months. It's like that's been like every single week. It's just the way they're ramping it up and all this 2026 stuff. And like we talked about with the Economist cover, breaking that down, what 2026 was going to be and what it was going to look like. And they've literally already played it out. You know, we're only halfway through the calendar year and they've already played it out pretty much perfectly. And the real year just started like almost 3 months ago now. So, I mean, they're way ahead of schedule, and with 2027 looming and getting closer every day. I mean, I really feel like if it's not this year, I feel like it's got to be next year that something major, massive finally does kick off. But I do feel strongly about this summer, but I feel like if they don't get it this summer, they're going to have to get it by next summer. I just feel like we're closing in on a window that's rapidly shutting.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. All right, Austin, man, I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too, Zach.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
Yep. Have a great night.
Yeah. Thanks, man. For Mike Jordan Groupie, your question. I wrote about this in my book from 6 years ago, Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus. All that stuff, it's not some conspiracy theory. It is what's going to happen. There will be social scores and everything will be under the watchful eye. Larry Ellison told us so already. So, and it's just like me, you know, I got cameras pointing at my front door of both of my homes here in this neighborhood, and the other one even points right into my back door too. So I got cameras watching my whole house. And I live in a small town. Yeah, you guys can find a way to download this book for free too. But yeah, I've been talking about it for a long time, and now it's, you know, if you thought I was wrong 6 years ago, go back and listen to what Larry Ellison said. Larry Ellison's the head of Oracle. Oracle, the future teller. Larry Ellison was the guy who spoke out for all those billionaires day one of the Trump administration about Project Stargate. The AI, the big AI, there's a reason they're investing so much in AI, you guys. It's going to be because they want to keep tabs on every last thing. Cameras everywhere. AI keeping tabs on all things at all times. All the hardware investments crazy in this AI surveillance infrastructure. Somebody also asked me to play a clip from The Daily Show. I think this might be a copyright problem. I wonder if I can get away with just playing the audio. We'll try it out. Just the audio. He says start right here in the video. Let's see why he wants me to play it. Actually, can you guys hear that right now? Can you guys hear that audio? Could you hear the audio of what I was just playing? Or do I need to click a button? No, yeah, I got a button. StreamYard needs to go back to the way it was 2 years ago. It was so much better. All right, hold on. Try that one more time.
I think we need to be clear with Californians about how we're going to make their lives better. Spending in California is up 75%.
Why do you want to be
in
governor
the last
of California?
6 years?
It is a disaster waiting to happen.
It matters.
Do you know why they film all the earthquake movies with The Rock there?
I see why he wanted me to play that. Okay, got it. And it's just like today, you know, 54th day of The Rock being 54 years old, born in 72, Jesuit Order 54 and 72, been a broken record about natural disasters, sync with The Rock, who's in all these natural disaster movies. So, okay, when was that episode from that you just sent me? 3 months ago, March 16th. Okay, 75th day of the year, as they talk about 75%. Huh. Okay. All right. Anyway, if you guys got here late, the real presentation on the information is at the beginning. If you're not used to my streams, you know, I usually cover everything right at the beginning. I don't waste time, but then I open up the phone lines and you just never know where we're going to go from there. So, yeah, the main topic at the start of the stream. Thank you to everyone who helps spread the information around. And yeah, I would definitely take the time to watch at least the first 5 minutes of this video. All right, True Seeker, we'll leave it there for now. And until next time.